What is up, everyone? Welcome back to StadiaCast, Stadia UK Cast specifically. Back here with episode 2. Another episode coming to you live from the great old place that is Scotland. More of that on later about how we're going to maybe change the name and change up the whole scene on the social media platforms. But for the moment, just want to say thanks to you guys who tuned into the first episode and checked out the rest of my social media since the last episode went up a couple of days ago. We're going to try and space these out so there's not as much kind of overlap with different casts or different podcasts coming out, but we're going to talk about just general impressions today and things we've wanted to cover for a while. And so for that to happen, I have to now finally introduce my co-host. That is Jordan. What's happening, Jordan?
Hey, what's going on?
So if you guys listened to the last podcast episode, I talked just briefly about I would have a co-host coming on. Unfortunately, the last time I recorded the first episode, Jordan was quite busy with his life in general.
Indeed.
And now he has freed up some time to come and talk to us. So thanks, Jordan.
I have. That's no problem. Glad to be
Awesome. Cool. So, the reason I think this was interesting was because originally me and Jordan have been friends for a while, about 3 or 4 years now, and we generally would play games together on PC quite regularly. But as the years went on, and Jordan's just been getting on with life in general.
life together, man.
Life together. He's not had a chunk of cash for a while to throw at a brand new PC. So, of course, here was me when Google announced Stadia. I was like, hey, bud, there's something coming along that could be potentially really cool and let you run brand new games at super high resolutions without having to buy a new PC. And Jordan was like, oh, that's cool.
Yes.
Bison. So Jordan was coming on the podcast to act as just a kind of Joe gamer and talk about his experience with Stadia from just somebody who knows practically nothing about the service, as opposed to me who knows a lot about it. So Jordan is here to talk about all things Stadia with me and tell me what he thinks, if it's shit, if it's good, and everything in between. So, but the first piece of news really before the first piece of news, we are thinking of maybe possibly changing the branding on our social media and the channel. Instead of Stadia UK, we were thinking Stadia Scotland might be cool because it's like a double S thing. And then also it would be more unique to us because I know there's a couple of guys from the UK who are now starting podcasts and starting channels. So I haven't seen anybody at the moment who's representing Scotland. So one time we will do that.
It's up to
us. That's it. The mission is now ours. So yeah, if you see a rebranding of the name on social media sites, now you know why. Also, after that piece of news, now we come to the first piece of news, which is after reading the fine print on most of the Stadia T's and C's, I actually found out that the Buddy Pass, which I was going to give to Jordan, could be delivered up to 6 months after my Founders Edition ships.
No.
So that's pretty shit. How do you feel about that, Jordan?
Very, very gutted. Very gutted. I can't even play Borderlands 3 right now, so I was super excited about playing Borderlands 3 when the Stadia came out, and obviously I've got a potato PC, I'm not going to lie, so the idea of Stadia just is so tantalizing. I just want it now. It makes so much sense to me, and I've got a good internet connection, so it makes a lot of sense for me to have it. I'm really gutted about the delay, not going to lie.
Yeah, that really sucks because, well, I mean, it's more because you are traditionally a console gamer, so you've played more consoles growing up than you have PC stuff, but you still have a PC. I mean, I think it was way back in the day you had a computer when I first met you and you were running just basic stuff off that, but you then had that, I think, more for just college and doing some audio stuff. It was less for gaming.
Pretty much. I mean, I was making some music back then. I was using Reason, and that was all I could really run was Reason. So I was really just using it for music and the odd Minecraft session and the odd CS:GO session, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so basic level gaming. So that's why obviously we thought Stadia would be ideal. But then, I mean, the fine detail does say up to 6 months beyond, but it could be a week, it could be a day.
Still have hope.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's not going to be the case because a couple of guys have reported, including guys in Stadia Cast, were saying that the whole thing with like the delay means that a lot of people would be kind of pissed off because a lot of people, including myself, were buying the Founders Edition, not only because we wanted access to Stadia, but I also thought, oh, this is great. I can give this to Jordan. He can play with me. So if you're looking for that buddy to play with, then yeah, that could be really shit, because obviously if it takes even maybe say 3 months as an example to come out, then
You've
my
already played half the game.
Yeah, half the games that came out, I've already got 3 games in my library from the pro subscription. But then when Jordan activates his, he won't be able to get those games that I've claimed.
I
So
didn't even think about that.
yeah, like you'll miss out on Destiny 2, you'll miss out on
What?
whatever else that kind of shit. Yeah, I mean that's the thing I was thinking about, because you have to have an active pro subscription to claim the games that are free on the service.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Because with PlayStation Plus and the games for Xbox and stuff, you would need to have the subscription to get access to those games. So yeah, if you're not making an account until January or whenever, then yeah, you would lose out on those games potentially. So yeah, that really sucks.
Man, that's so annoying. I didn't know that.
I know.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm pissed
I
now.
know.
Stadia,
I know.
Google,
What the fuck?
Google, my guy, my dude, what you doing?
Yeah, I know.
Oh no! I wonder what the second month's going to be then.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, nobody really knows if it's going to be a month-to-month game thing. Although it is with most other services, so like PlayStation Plus and other game services have a thing where every month you would get access to a certain amount of games or game. So yeah, that would be the case. But I mean, hopefully, it's not going to be the case that we're going to be waiting 3 months. I really, really hope that's not the case. Although we know that some of these T's and C's are put in place just to cover Google, so that if it's not there, like. Yeah, like if it's not there day one, then people can't phone up and be like, "You promised me a buddy pack," you know what I mean? So it's but then it's like, as far as I know, for the Google setup, it's basically just a code. Like it's just a thing, a code, a number, or something like that you would put on the website to activate your account.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, it's just it's really, in the end, it's just software, really, or it's just an account. There's just an account that you're basically buying for right now.
Yeah, it's nothing high tech. So yeah, if they're going to send the code out, as far as I know, as soon as my Founders Edition launches or gets sent from the warehouse, they will send me an email to set up my account. So in that case, if that's how they're going to run the account, then I'm assuming the buddy account would be the same way.
The key would be there, yeah.
They would just send an email, or when you set up your account, it might ask you like, who's your buddy, who do you want to send the free 3 months to? Then I would just put in Jordan's email, and he would get an email, and he would set up his account. Because not even that, if he doesn't get the code for say 6 months, which takes us into like May next year, if that's the case,
6 games.
Yeah, that would mean that well, by then the thing will probably be public, so you can sign up to it anyway. But then the early access is what we're paying for. But yeah, if you had to wait that long, the whole thing of getting to reserve your own name would be gone, because somebody might have taken your name by them.
That's so true.
See, this is why we're doing it raw online, because we can take Jordan's reaction as pure as it can be. It's painful, man. It really is. And that's the thing with me as well, because obviously there was so much mix up with the Google Stadia release dates, because when people were going to their order on the Google page, it was showing that some people weren't getting their order till like December or January. But if you updated your address, it changed. I think mine's changed to the 13th of November. So I was getting it like a week before it launched. But then a lot of people were still seeing the same dates. But then Google admitted that there's a bug in the system, that all the shipment dates are wrong. So yeah, it's weird. These tiny little details are coming out now, like as we get closer to launch, including the fact that the wireless controller that you get with the Stadia Chromecast can only be wireless with the Chromecast. If you want to use it with your PC,
what? I thought you could use it with anything.
Well, you can, but not wirelessly. That's the catch. At launch, anyway. Specifically, it says at launch. So at launch, at launch, you can only use it wirelessly with the Stadia Cast. If you use it with anything else, you have to plug it in. So I was kind of like, it kind of sucks. So like, yeah, there's loads of these little details that are coming out, last minute, that people are kind of like, oh, what the fuck's going on?
I mean, everyone kind of had both ends of I'm not sure about this, and this will be great, and this will work, and the people saying, oh no, this won't work, and we just don't know at this point, and they're not really helping their case at the moment. But yeah, I really hope it works, and I hope they do it in time, and I want to play Destiny 2 with you and talk about it.
I know, and stream it because we were planning to do a whole stream it. Like I've set up the Twitch and I've set up all the live the YouTube stuff and stuff. So if we get streaming up, because the good thing about streaming your game and then using something like OBS or Streamlabs to stream it is Streamlabs for me takes up 25 to 30% of my CPU when I run the stream. So it's really, because it's encoding so much information so quickly, it really is CPU intensive. But then if I try to run a game on top of that, I mean, then you start to get into the high 80s, 90s, and I've got a really good CPU, but even mine's is what the hell are you doing? You're running so much stuff at once. But the good thing with Stadia is that because that game is run in the cloud on Google's Blades, you're not running that on your local machine.
Special own GPU thing that I read.
Yeah, that's built custom for them, and so it means all the encoding's done on their side, so you could stream potentially, super high 4K video, and your PC isn't even breaking a sweat, which is great. So that would be good if you wanted to run streams. Or
mine breaks a sweat on Firefox. This is a potato PC in its right form, so I am the perfect person to test this.
Yes,
Stadia,
exactly.
Google, give me it.
Yeah, I know.
I'll test it for you.
I know. Well, I mean, worst case scenario, if we found it was going to be delayed by a grand scheme, Jordan can always buy the now Premier Edition. It's not the Founders Edition anymore. It's the Premier Edition.
Oh, okay.
Which comes with the same kind of benefits. So the only thing it doesn't come with is the ability to claim your original name you want for the service. But you still get access to the Stadia, the Destiny Complete Collection, and the 3 months of Stadia Plus, as well as the Chromecast 4K and the controller.
There's no point in paying it if you can't use it. And if there's going to be delays, there must be a refund in place or some sort of thing in place.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm not sure about, because that's what I'm saying. I mean, you could drop the money to buy in like I have, but then it's 120? No, it's 119 pounds.
£19, yeah.
So yeah, it's probably
free
money
delivery though.
Yeah, totally. I think for £100, you would hope it would be free fucking delivery. But yeah, but yeah, I think Jordan might have to make that call down the line. But yeah, I think with the Buddy Pass, it might not be as bad as we're originally thinking. It might be like a week.
I think it is what you're saying. I think it is just to cover their own back and just to be like, in the event of this might happen, just so you're aware. We acknowledge this could happen.
Yes, because obviously they don't know how quickly they're going to get them out to people, or there might be problems. So, yeah, but the option's always there. If Jordan does want to get in early and he's not want to wait, then he can invest and get the package. Like I said, it is very similar to the Founders Edition. It just means that you won't have that little badge next to your name, and you won't have the...
Well, it's the name. It's the name thing I want. The amount of time I went in, because I'm going to use the one that I use all the time. That I'm not going to say it.
Yeah,
but I'm going to use the one I use constantly on all consoles and on Steam, on everything. I have the same name, and when I can't get that name, I'm not a happy boy.
Yeah, I can imagine. You have to put 01 after it, or something like that.
Another fucking 3, or you can bleep that. I can do another 3 or something.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating as hell.
No, I could imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is the problem we're coming up against, is that this could be the case, and Jordan could be waiting. But there is workarounds around it. Like I said, we don't want to have to be throwing stuff out or having to buy a brand new. Because £119 even for anybody right now is a lot of money. So not to mention Jordan's just moved. So yeah, it's probably money he just can't afford to spend. But yeah, so hopefully the Buddy Pass comes soon. If not, we can always do a thing where Jordan could stream one night on his computer, and I could just give him the login, and he could try it on his machine. So. Ooh. Yeah, that could also be an option. So, but then obviously us playing together was the idea. So that's what we wanted to do.
Well, I wanted to fight, demons in Doom Eternal with you, and I wanted to go around Earth and Moon and Destiny 2, and I wanted to, go get loot in Borderlands 3. So it's annoying. I want to play these things with you on Stadia, test the capabilities of it, and it's so annoying. I want to do it day one.
I know. Which, I mean, it was good as well, because you've got stuff like Red Dead, and I really haven't tried the online for Red Dead yet, so it would be a good example.
It's picked up now.
Yeah, I've been told it's definitely picked up now, and I know, those games are really good when you have people playing with you. So yeah, hopefully if we got the pass, Jordan might be tempted to drop I don't know what it's going to be priced. I've been told that on Stadia, pro members will get exclusive discounts on games, so you might
like
find that.
PlayStation Plus type style.
Yeah, so Red Dead might only be £35 as opposed to 50 or 60, whatever. So yeah, we might be able to drop some cash and get some extra games. But yeah, but it'll not be any use obviously when this all happens and the Stadia founders codes all get delayed and stuff. But we'll wait and see. We'll just hope. On the note of Doom Eternal though, the second thing I want to talk about was the Ubisoft delays, and of course, on top of that, because you're talking about Doom, I don't know if you heard that Doom Eternal has been delayed to March next year.
No, I hadn't known that.
Yes.
I did not know that. I mean, perfect English.
Yes, that was announced earlier, I think, in the month. But yeah, Doom Eternal has been pushed back to March.
I'm say at this point in this day and age, delay it. Just delay them, because I would rather it come out a finished, polished game, and everyone was happy. There was no disgruntled, there's no some bad work environments. I'd rather the game was brought out at the time it's meant to be brought out.
Yes, I agree, and I think it was Shigeru Miyamoto who always said that a bad game will never be good, but a delayed game will eventually be good, but a bad game is bad forever. So
exactly. Wise
you've
words.
You've got to let these things just pan out. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the software team. I know a couple of guys up there, and yeah, they do good work. So if they need to,
the best, man.
Yeah, if they need to delay it, then I'm 100% behind that. But then to counter that, we also heard that Death Stranding is coming to PC in 2020. So
I did see that, and
yeah,
not gonna lie, I'm happy. I'm really happy. And I'm happy it's not Sony that's porting it too. It's another company.
Yeah, it's a company that typically deals in PC porting, so it's a good company apparently.
Who was it? The ones that done Control, I think.
I think yeah, the similar that was what the guys. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah,
I can't remember their name.
They will be porting it. So, but then also we were going to talk about the Ubisoft delays as well, because Doom's been delayed, but then also. There was a statement recently that Ubisoft released that said Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Watch Dogs Legions will all be pushed into Ubisoft's 2020-2021 fiscal year. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot says that the delay was to give the teams more development time to ensure that the respective innovations are perfectly implemented to deliver optimal experiences for the player. So, yeah, I mean, more delays. I actually was getting used to not hearing about it because last year there wasn't much delayed. I think the only thing that was pushed was God of War, which then was pushed out to April.
I think Rage 2 was delayed, was it not?
I can't remember specifically, but possibly you could be right, yeah. And I know recently the only other thing that I heard got delayed was Last of Us Part 2 was pushed back to May next year. So,
which I'm happy about. And I've seen a lot of hate on Twitter about it. And I'm actually happy about it. I'd rather they just take their time and give it as they quote, the Naughty Dog treatment or whatever it's called, the Naughty Dog quality. That was what it was.
Yes, seal of approval. But then, the thing is, again, because I kind of, not officially 100%, but I kind of work in the game industry at the moment. But I do know people in that studio, and
you got your toe in.
Yeah. So there's people I know there who are doing really good work, and when delays always happen, it's great. The only thing that kind of gave me a bit of pause for thought was the fact that they just announced that date, I think only about 3 or 4 weeks ago, if even that.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, if at that point you were still unsure, why announce it?
I can tell you why.
Why?
Well, I don't know for sure, but it's my theory.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was a Sony execs. I honestly think it was the Sony execs telling Naughty Dog, we need a release date, get us a release date. Look at what Xbox is doing, look at what Google's doing, look at what this is doing. We need to show, this is like our biggest game that we're trying to bring out, as well as Death Stranding. Death Stranding's already here, but we need a date for Last of Us Part 2, and they just had to give them one. That's what I think's happened.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who I've heard talk about that, I think I was even listening to GameScoop and IGN, and they were saying similar things. They were thinking that there was nothing in the part of the year where there was getting released, and Sony were like, we need something to fill that gap. But then, of course, if the executives and the guys who are at Naughty Dog feel like it just isn't ready, then and the thing is, if it's coming out, if it's coming out next year, and that's like May, you're talking that game has to really be finished by probably January or February, because it needs to be pressed to disc and then obviously distributed. So maybe only gives them an extra maybe 3 or 4 months, if that.
Could make
And
all the difference.
yeah, it could make all the difference. It could be like a whole mechanic of like the last part of a level or how the game ends.
Well,
So
I just don't want what happened to Game of Thrones season finale to happen to this game,
yeah,
because I love
yeah,
this game. I loved the first game, and this one
yeah.
looks amazing. I don't want to be as disappointed as I was that day.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, like, delays. Like I said, we talked about this earlier, that they always are for a reason, and people will inevitably complain and moan and say things that are bad about the company. But yes, I think at this point we're used to it so much that it's just kind of like fair enough. But then that's, like I say, the only thing that did give me pause for thought was the fact that they had announced it, a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, "This is the date. Here's the trailer. Here's the date. This is when it's coming out." And then, like, literally a couple of weeks later, they were like, "Okay, no, that was the wrong date. Now it's coming out, next year." So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh no, it was a total 360 or 180,
yeah,
whatever you wanted to
yeah,
call it.
yeah, yeah, the kind of roundabout. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, whatever, it's fine. I mean, I'm not going to complain too much. Again, I've not really played that much PlayStation since God of War recently, because I think because Stadia was coming out, PlayStation Now subscription price was halved, so
Yep.
it went from about well, in the UK it's different
1999,
from,
I think. Is it
yeah,
to 999?
it's 9, it's 8, excuse me, it's 8.99 in the UK, because it's like $20 in America, so it's like a little cheaper here.
Oh.
Same, it should be $9.99 I think in the US, but it's $8.99 here. So and that gets you access now to God of War 4, or God of War, the
The newest.
relaunch on
Yeah.
PS4, newest God of War, and Uncharted 4, which I didn't get a chance to play either. So I've been
That is
playing
a
that.
great game.
Really good game. So yeah, so when it comes in that service, eventually I'll probably play it on that. By then, probably PlayStation Now will be running, I'm imagining, just as good as Google Stadia, but we don't know, because Google has their own technology and their own pipeline. So, which comes back to the next thing we were going to talk about, which was Google making their own games.
Woo!
So yeah, so we had a statement from one of the VPs saying that Google's launching its own game studio in Montreal to develop exclusive games for its soon to be Google Stadia event. And Google plans for the studio to produce original exclusive games that add to the attraction of the Stadia gaming platform. Just as Xbox has boasted the Gears of War series, exclusive to the console for years, and PlayStation has exclusively hosted the Uncharted series, and more besides, Google believes Stadia needs its own exclusive draw. So yeah, like, there was a couple of people talking about how Google Stadia doesn't need exclusives, and it's more just like Netflix, where they'll just get licenses from
Streaming
different people.
service.
Yeah, they'll just, they'll get a license for Warner Brothers to throw a couple hundred movies on, or
Yeah.
Sony, and obviously now Disney are doing their own thing with Disney Plus, because Mandalorian's coming on in November. I can't wait for that series. Jon Favreau is one of my favorite people.
Still not watched that trailer. You sent me and I've still not watched that trailer.
I was drooling. I was drooling over that.
I feel weird about watching trailers now. I don't want to be ruined anything.
No, I know. And Mandalorian, I've been told, I was actually watching the H3H3 podcast the other day, and they had Bill Burr on, who actually was in the series. He had a part in it, like a kind of speaking part. So he was talking about Jon Favreau's whole approach to the system and the new technology they were using for projection. It was crazy. You're standing in the middle of a set, and you had this like dome projection thing, so you could see all the background behind you, and it would move. So he was like, yeah, there's a whole of the new technology coming to that looks really cool. So yeah, but anyway, so yeah, people were thinking it was like Netflix. They would just throw a couple of hundred licenses on and games, and they have been doing that. They've got deals with Rockstar and Bethesda, and they've been bringing games from different platforms. But yeah, exclusives, I think there needs to be a definite selling point. And I know people say that Google isn't selling a box. They're not trying to shift a PlayStation or an Xbox. They already have. Everybody has a PC or a tablet or a phone. You can just click it, and if you can run 4K videos on YouTube, you can run a 4K stream.
Well, it's
Google.
funny that you mentioned the mobile, because I have been thinking how they're going to implement this with the Pixel, because I'm expecting Google Pixel phones to, I don't know, I feel like they're going to do something with that phone. They're going to make it so that if you have a Pixel phone, you get like some extra benefit to using Stadia on it, or it'll have
Yeah,
some better optimization for it or something. I don't know.
I'm not sure how that would work, but I do know Gamescom, they were running Google Stadia on Pixel phones, and they had the phones connected to the controllers through the the little dock things that you can put on top of the controllers to set your phone in.
Yep.
So that's how they were running the demos. Like, they had so many stations that were TVs, PCs, and then they had a whole bigger side of it where a lot of people could play, where it was just the phone, the Pixel phone on the controller, which is really interesting technology, because I'm going to explain this to Jordan now, and I don't know if Jordan knows this, but so the Google Stadia controller, it doesn't actually interact with the console or the phone or anything you're using. The the controller uses Wi-Fi to directly speak to the Google Stadia servers.
What?
Yes, it is a very new and interesting technology that Google has been perfecting for a long
How?
time now. So when you press a button, the Google sends that button through the Wi-Fi to their data centers, and then the result of that button press appears on your screen.
How does that not make you worried about delays and stuff like that?
Well, there's a lot of things. So they have a computational algorithm where they will render every perceivable frame that could be in the game. So, like the frame for you pressing X, the frame for you pressing A or B or Y, and then depending on what you press, they will send that frame. So they've already pre-rendered all the frames. So any possibility is already pre-rendered. We're getting into like futurist stuff now, like where every perceivable outcome could be thought of. But also they have a thing called negative latency, which was announced recently with one of their heads of engineering, where he talked about negative latency as a program which will predict what you're going to press next. So they will already pre-render that frame and send it to you preemptively.
How?
I know.
Like how?
It's really just magic at this point. It's like smoke and mirrors. I mean, I'm not like an engineer by any sense, and I don't know how this stuff works. But yeah, a lot of this is specifically what's the word I'm looking for?
You can get it. You got this.
It's just like technology that Google has developed that is only for Stadia. So you're not going to see this anywhere else, really. It's just been specifically made.
Dedicated.
Yeah, just for them. So I mean, it's interesting the way it's working, because when I originally heard that, I was like, what the hell? Because obviously controllers, we've used controllers for years and years. You know, they press a button, it tells the Xbox to press A. That's been a thing that's just been in since day one. Since I've had consoles. Yep. In the 90s, you know, you press a button, there's an electric signal that goes to the console. But then now that and that's how you can, you know, if you're playing on your TV, you can walk to your phone or you can walk to your PC without any interruption, because the controller doesn't have to be synced between devices. It just has to sync with the Stadia servers against your profile, and then whatever you're playing, the controller will know. So you could be playing on your TV, and then, you know, somebody comes in and uses the TV. You can just pick the controller up, go into your bedroom, pardon me, and then keep playing. So
I take it they're going to have a dock. So that dock that we've seen in the demo with it, I take it that you can get that then with that controller. So it's going to be attached onto the controller for your phone, for phone use.
As far as I know, yeah, it will be. I don't think it's something that primarily Google will sell, because I know there's other people that sell the clips that, you know, clip from the controller into the phone. I mean, yeah, because you're going to use specifically the controller they're using. I think it's different enough from Xbox and PlayStation that you'll need something that will primarily fit around the Stadia controller. So yeah, it might not actually be Google. It might be a third-party service that sells the clips. I don't know, but nothing like that's been discussed yet. They've even talked about, you know, people were saying, I know Stadia Cast had one of their guys on, and they were saying, would you be selling like a wireless mouse and keyboard setup that also talks to the servers if people want to play mouse and keyboard and have less lag? And he was saying, you know, it's not something we're thinking about just now, but we might in the future. People really want it. Because at the moment you can use your mouse and keyboard the same as if you would on your PC anyway, but they say for the best experience, using the controller is preferred because it connects directly to the servers.
That's mad.
It is crazy. It's a really crazy technology, and I'm really just interested to get it in my hands at this point and just
play about,
see if it works, because there's so many things, so many promises that Google has made about the service, and I just want to see
some big claims.
Yeah, I mean, like 4K 60 FPS on all games.
Quite unbelievable claims.
Yeah, but then I'm like, I mean, I can run 4K video at 60 FPS, and then I don't really have much issue. So they're saying if you can do that with a video from the YouTube service, then you can do that with a game from the Stadia service.
That is so much more information than a video. It's a ridiculous amount more information, especially, right, so Destiny 2 alone, I can tell you on a console is like 100 gigabytes if you're downloading the full thing. It's like 98 gigabyte or something.
Yeah.
That all needs to be processed.
Well, I mean, yes and no.
Real time.
So the game is running on the Stadia Blade. So that information is obviously run, and that's why there's no downloads or no updates, and everything runs within 5 seconds of opening it, because it's just what it's sending you is the video signal, the output from that blade, the video output to your screen. So in essence, it's like when you watch somebody playing Destiny 2 on Twitch, right? But instead of having to just watch the game, you could also join in and pick up the controller and play with them. So that's the future they're wanting, and they're saying, because their Google Stadia pipelines and their just Google's pipelines in general are so vast, and they've built so much infrastructure that there's going to be no bottlenecking, and when you connect to a server, you're connecting to an absolute direct route to that server. There's no in betweens. There's no
middleman.
Yeah, basically, you're just connecting straight to Google servers. For us, it'll probably be London, I'd imagine. That'll be the main data center. London from Scotland, for we lives 400 or 500 miles, so a bit to go through, but then you're talking about fiber, you're talking about the speed of light. So, yeah, there's definitely a thing where it's all talk, right? Because I think initially, years and years ago, and I don't know if I can actually cast my mind back this far, but when Netflix became a thing, not even Netflix, let's even go back to that. Let's talk about when YouTube was a thing, and I first started on YouTube back in 2009 and had my first games channel.
10 years ago?
Yeah, making videos and uploading them and have people seeing them, and then seeing other people's videos and be able to click on a video and it played and it didn't buffer, you didn't have to download anything, it just all streamed on your internet. That was brand new technology back then. And then even amazing. Then, and it worked. And the same when Netflix came along and people were like, oh no, I love my DVD collection, I don't want to get rid of that. And then of course Netflix now runs in 4K. A lot of I'm sure Stranger Things is 4K FPS.
I can tell you as a someone who prays the extra for 4K. Yep.
Yeah. So again, these services now are running to the point where, if you can run a 4K video, you could run a 4K stream. And I think it's different because people talk about how come Twitch gamers can't run 4K FPS. Well, then for your machine to run that kind of bitrate takes not only a crazy big connection, but also a machine that can really encode that high level a video that quickly and send it out. I mean, to encode 4K video per second and send it out to someone's screen or out to a service or a kind of middleman like Twitch, then your machine has to be one of the best in the world. You're talking like a 10 grand machine. If you want it to be, running 4K and stream it to Twitch. So that's why most people will run 720p streams or 1080p streams, because their computers just can't handle that amount of encoding. But Google has custom built these things and invested, millions, if not billions, in this technology for a long time. And I think that's also why people get a bit, concerned when they say, Google has all these services that have came and gone, and they've killed this and they've killed that, and this.
It's usually to make way for another thing, though.
Yeah, people just talked. Yeah, people talked recently about YouTube gaming dying, but then that had to die for Stadia to live. Basically, that is what Stadia will become. You'll eventually see. People talked about how's the YouTube interface going to change when Stadia releases. There'll probably just be an extra tab on YouTube that says Stadia, and you'll be able to access and watch everybody streaming games. Yeah, I mean, because when you clicked on YouTube gaming, you could jump straight into somebody playing a game. So it'll be the same with the Stadia service. It'll just be rebranded.
Here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this will be a thing or not. I'm hoping not. But will you have to run Chrome to be able to use Stadia?
That is a good question.
I've not heard anything about that.
I'm imagining. Yeah, I'm wondering how that will work. I'm imagining that if you have a web browser of any description, you should be able to run Stadia, because you can run YouTube on any OS for internet. So Internet Explorer can run YouTube, Firefox can run YouTube. Because I know that because Chrome typically runs quite hot on CPU performance.
Yeah.
And RAM. So yeah, I'd imagine that would be the case, that as long as you have an internet connection and you can get to the website, it shouldn't be an issue. They might. I'm trying to think.
I mean, I haven't heard anything. It's really just like, what do you think? Because there's nothing really been. I mean, as far as I'm aware, there's nothing that's been announced saying anything otherwise. But
I think because YouTube is readily available and they want to get to the most people they can, I think maybe initially, maybe the first wave will be you have to use Chrome.
Oh well, maybe actually for like
Yeah.
the founders. I don't like just
Yeah.
for the founders for the first couple of months, maybe.
But what I'm thinking as well is what they might do is they might make an APK or an app that will just download to your computer that you can open and run Stadia from that as well.
That makes sense.
That could be a thing. But then, yeah,
Another launcher.
I think if you have, yeah, I know. I think if you have to run Chrome just to run Stadia initially, it's not going to be a big sacrifice. But yeah, I think, like you said, for the initial, it might be, but then eventually it'll come to. Because then it's the same with the iPhone, because iPhone can't run it at launch, but then because they want to focus on the Pixel phones, probably to move Pixel phones.
Is that true? They're not.
Yeah,
it's not going to run on iPhones.
Not initially,
at start.
but as far as I know, probably by the time it's ready to launch next year, iOS will have support. So because I've got my iPad and stuff, I can run it on that or run it on my phone. But also I know that, especially on the Pixels just now, you won't be able to run it over your mobile data. It has to be on Wi-Fi for it to run. So that's another restriction.
That makes more sense though. I'd cry if I realised that.
Yeah.
Oh right, I just started playing
Use up
Destiny
all my
for
data.
5 minutes and it's used up all my data.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to get around that. I have heard in the wind that they are working with ISPs specifically to try and get exclusive deals, like Stadia packages, basically, so that you can run
like 100 gigs and stuff like that.
Yeah, like you're not going to have any data caps. You're not going to be penalised for running whatever.
True Unlimited is, I think it's 3 that does apparently True Unlimited.
Yeah, I mean, like at the moment in my home, we have, the Virgin, or what they call the gamer package, which is the 300 plus meg service with unlimited downloads, no data caps. So in the UK, it's quite common that you can get unlimited data from most providers. Virgin especially, they never really have data caps. But I know some guys like Verizon, AT&T in America, they do have specific plans, especially maybe on the lower end, where you can only download like maybe a terabyte a month. But then, up until then, people would only be watching movies and maybe not even in HD.
This pretty much changes the game.
Yeah, because you're streaming.
No pun intended.
Especially if you're streaming the 4K service as the Pro, then it means that you're running 4K video constantly. That's going to be a lot of data to run. That's
especially
heavy.
60 frames.
Yes, 60 frames per second at 4K is going to be intense for. I mean, like I run 4K videos in my.
My phone's shaking just at the thought of it. Sorry.
No, I know it's well, but the thing is, like I said, this is a new technology they invested in, and the point I think I was originally getting to was that one of their VPs came out and talked about how Google actually has a 10-year plan for Stadia. It's not just a thing where they're going to run it for 6 months and see if it fails and then shut it off. They've invested in, like Phil Harrison specifically, they've invested in one of the former VPs who I think his initial job was either with Xbox or Sony, but, they brought him on board to run, the whole division of that part of Stadia, or to run Stadia in general. I think he's the CFO or CEO. And then they brought in the former director of the Ubisoft studio that created Splinter Cell or run the new Splinter Cell games and Assassin's Creed. And she's now heading up the first party studio in Montreal. They've invested with exclusives for other parties and other studios around the world. They've got these deals coming on with Rockstar and Bethesda and, the infrastructure. So they've invested like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like a lot of money in this service. Yeah. And with a 10-year plan, they're looking at like releasing, they're like, by year 4, we have to have this exclusive out and this. And the people are looking at like the initial things that are happening, like, there's going to be 4K, 60 FPS. But, their engineering guy was like, excuse me, they were looking to say like, by next year, we'll probably try and run these in 8K if we can at 120 FPS. And then you're thinking, Jesus, that's only in 6 months. Imagine in a year's time, what's going to be the next thing. And then, of course, Google's AI chips, they're talking about, giving NPCs an AI so that you could physically talk to an AI and it would have a conversation with you. I mean, that's stuff that can only be leveraged in the cloud. Same with Orcs Dice 3. They're looking at like running like 1,000 orcs on screen at once.
I'm pretty sure we've already realized cloud's the future. That's pretty much where this is going. It's going to be all cloud. Yeah. There's going to be very little peripheral left.
Yep.
That is where this is going, and Google's getting a jump on it, rightly so.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's interesting where people talk about the resistance, and I know there's been people online that have been famously talking about it in negative terms, and StadiaCast, when I was talking to them last, they were talking about this as well, how people who are talking about it negatively are probably just trying to get views, and then of course when it
Yeah.
comes out and it works, they'll be like, "Oh, I was wrong because I was wrong." Videos, they get a lot of views.
Oh,
So
aye.
so yeah, I mean, like, I think it's just funny enough, actually, this is an interesting point as well, because me and Jordan can probably both answer to this, because a lot of the resistance I've seen has been from game collectors, people who have
Yes.
a huge investment in physical media, and me and Jordan have both came for that. I mean, years and years ago, before I met Jordan, even I had a huge game collection. I used to collect games all the
Oh,
time, rare
good.
ones for Japan. But I mean, Jordan still does to an extent. He's still got a fairly big collection, even with
Well, my
Blu-rays and
missus will
stuff like that.
disagree with you.
Yeah, of course.
She's
He's,
trying to
he's
get rid of them.
downsized. He's downsized. But yeah, I think the all digital future is something that I would happily embrace, because I know it's handy having Netflix on the go wherever I go. Same with YouTube. So to be able to, open a browser and play a game, take a flight, play it on my phone, get off, use an internet cafe to play the rest of my game. I'm quite happy at that future.
See,
That's something that's going to me excited.
just to defend on the other side, or get a point on the other side.
Yeah.
I can. One major thing that I among a lot of other people is the fact that you wouldn't really be owning your games. You're
Yes.
basically renting them. They still own all that property. You're
Yeah.
just renting it. If you have a physical copy of a disc, if you've got it in your hands, I
Yeah.
can say I own this. This is mine. I paid for it.
Yeah.
I worked hard for it. It's mine.
Yeah. Yes.
Whereas if you're buying online, it's not going to be yours. Of absolutely 100% yours. You've just paid for the privilege to play it. Is the
Yeah.
way it
I
looks
know.
like.
Yeah, totally. And again, to counter that point, because I know people have talked about that, where people look at Steam libraries as a huge investment, but then if Steam goes offline, there is issues with Steam, or Steam revoke the service, then yeah, you would
You'd
lose your
lose.
Steam games.
Yep.
And I have over 500 games in my Steam
I
library,
have over
so
300.
yeah, it's like that could happen, obviously. But then I think Stadia were also saying that there is an extent of, it's like another way to play your games almost, because yeah, you can still you can still go to the store and buy a game. You can still and a lot of people now are just downloading games, because even the people who download games from like the PlayStation Store, you don't technically own that game either, because if the Sony service shuts down eventually, you can't re-download that game. It's like the Wii U, when it had exclusive games on the Wii U store. Now
Yep.
that console is dead, there's games on that online store that's now closed that you'll just never get access to ever again.
Yep.
So unless you're physically talking about a disc, which you can still do that if you want, but then if you want the convenience of being able to open a web browser and play a game in 5 seconds, that's the price you pay for that. You have to swap that physical media for the digital cloud stuff. And the great thing I love about Stadia, when people talk about the price, is that you can buy games on Stadia, but to actually use the service, it's free.
Yeah,
So you don't physically have to pay for
that's
the
true.
service if you don't want to. Unlike Netflix, where obviously you have to pay money to get into Netflix to watch the movies, and I know you get movies with that, but yeah, if you want to just buy Red Dead on Stadia and play it in the cloud, you
See,
don't have to pay for Stadia.
I think that's the most alluring part. I think that's the most attractive part of Stadia is that it's free. You can you're just buying the game, and it's
Yes.
only if you want the extra, all the bells and whistles, is where you really need to pay.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
I
I
like
think
that.
even
I like
and for
that
like
decision.
in the UK it's going to be £8.99, and like for a free game every month plus access to 4K.
That's less than Xbox Game Pass, and that's quite impressive. The Ultimate
Yeah.
Pass.
I mean, Game Pass obviously has a bit more to draw from, of course, because Xbox has been a thing for a long, long time.
Yeah,
But yeah, as more games are added, as more things come along, then, and I think nothing has been announced officially, but I think eventually they will invest in something like a Game Pass where you maybe pay 15 a month and you get access to like 30 or
games.
40 games or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, so it might not be Red Dead and Borderlands 3, but it'll maybe be like Darksiders or a couple of extra ones, smaller games, but not the huge AAA
See, to be
blockbusters.
honest, it's Google. I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to do that with, say, Cyberpunk and all that. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just anticipating Cyberpunk coming out in Stadia, because I just have like a feeling in my blood that they're gonna do something with Cyberpunk that is just not going to be possible anywhere else, because I know the guys at CD Projekt Red are always pushing the boundaries
Oh,
on
aye.
games, especially with Witcher. Like when that came out, that was like the game
so good.
When I used to benchmark my computer, when I actually built my first one back in 2011 or whatever it was, or 2012, whenever it was, I built my first PC. The game I wanted it to run on extreme was Skyrim. That was the game to test my computer.
Yep.
But now, like, maybe, I mean, Crysis is still a game to run, obviously, but like to run The Witcher 3 at like 4K 40 FPS or 4K 60 FPS, sorry, and everything in ultra, that takes a beefy machine. I mean, I can do it and probably pull like 40 odd.
Yeah. Oh no, I've seen it. Like I remember going round to yours and you were showing me, and it was like
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
pretty colours and how amazing it was because you've got that incredible
Crazy.
monitor as well, and
Yeah.
it looks so stunning. But then you saw the FPS and you were like, "How are you not getting 60?" Like I thought you had like a really good 1080. What was it? A 1080 something?
1080 Ti, so
Yeah.
11 gigs of VRAM. But then, of course, you're running it in 4K, so you're running like 1080p 4 times. You know, I know it's not exactly 4, but yeah, you're quadding all the information. So that's why it's struggling to run. You know, I mean, if I drop it down to like maybe 1440p, no problem. It doesn't even break a sweat. But then you bump it up to 4K, then it starts to be like, oh, hold on a minute, I need to take a breath. So yeah, The Witcher is intense because there is so many graphical options on that, you know, including like the NVIDIA hair system, which, you know, if you run it intensely when everybody has hair that's flown everywhere, it starts to get a bit so
it's funny.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and when I just got The Witcher recently on the Switch as well, so I mean, running that, I mean, the guys who ported that game,
they had to do some work.
Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look terrible. Like, it looks very playable, and yeah, it's running at 30 FPS or whatever. But for a port on the Switch, I mean, it's definitely a technical marvel. I'll give them that.
Is it true 1080?
No, it's in docked, I think it's 720, and in mobile it's 540p or something like that. But 540p on a screen that size,
that's true.
You really can't notice it on the docked version. Yeah,
that's why I think on phones it's not going to be that bad, and they will have worked it out just by basically putting it down to 720 or something. Because you do, it's not that massive big of a deal.
They've said that the games will run as high as they can on the phones, but of course a lot of phones won't have 4K displays, so they'll be running as high as they can, but not at 4K. But then obviously on PCs, on the Chromecast, you'll have true 4K. And of course the games also support HDR, so if you have a high dynamic range TV, which I do, then you'll get to take in the HDR as well as the 4K 60 FPS. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits to run Stadia Pro, including the 5.1 surround, because obviously with your stereo on your normal one, you get 5.1 with Stadia Pro. So there is a lot of benefits, and you only need, apparently according to Google, you only need 35 megs plus to be getting your 4K experience. So for a lot of people, especially in the UK, especially in Scotland, I think an average
package,
is about 50 megs. So yeah, I've got the 300 plus in my house. In my office, I've got about 100. So ideally, it won't really struggle to run 4K FPS, 4K 60 FPS. So yeah, it's a great service to have and come along. And like I says, I want to see how Cyberpunk integrates with it, because I do think that will be the game to. That was the original point I was making, was that Cyberpunk, the guys at CD Projekt, will be pushing every pixel they can in the screen. So I think if there's going to be one that's definitely going to show off Stadia's just general, computing power, it's going to be Cyberpunk, which I think is due next March, right?
Oh, I could tell you the now. 2 seconds.
Cyberpunk.
Are you typing it too?
No, you do. You can go first.
I'll do it.
I'll do
it. All right. Release date April 16th.
April 16th. Okay. Well, that's not too far away.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's decent. So yeah, I think when that comes out, that's definitely going to be.
It's going to take over my life.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a definite investment in time, money, and of course just general resources for Stadia. But I think that's going to be something that's definitely going to shift Stadia's, because if you think about it,
it's going to push its limits.
Yeah, I think PC gamers. I'm in a fortunate position where, in fact, even now I'm probably a little bit behind, because the 2080 Ti's are out now, and I'm a generation behind. But running that at 4K on a PC will still be a mission. So I think if I have the option and it runs really well, I probably would buy that in Stadia as opposed to buying it on the
I was
PC.
thinking that. If it runs well and I get, I test it on the other games obviously and it runs okay, I'm going to go with the Stadia, because I am not. I am such a quality whore. I need the best quality. Ask any of my friends, including yourself.
Yeah.
It's how bad am I? It gets ridiculous.
No, I know. You've got, especially with movies, they're like, if it's not even like
I can't stream. I can't.
You can't even watch it. He's like, no, I can't watch it. I just can't. So
it's disgusting. I can't watch DVD anymore. It's really bad.
Yeah, because we've got the 4K TV now, so that's it's
Degrades it.
you know what's interesting as well. Actually, I'm thinking is no, because you would need the Stadia controller, but I was thinking you could have probably just got a Chromecast and.
Well, I was actually just looking at that. It's I noticed you need the Ultra, which is £69.
Yeah,
Um,
well, see, the thing is, if you buy the 119 package, what's interesting about it is, it really is, it is saving you money because, like you said, the Chromecast Pro or the Ultra
Ultra, yeah.
is $70. The controller is 60, as far as I know. 3 months of Stadia Pro is $30. So yeah, you're probably saving like £100 or
Yeah, it's a
something like
good
that.
package.
Yeah, I mean, like.
If you want the peripherals and you want that stuff, it's a good package.
Yeah, because then you could ideally play this stuff just sitting on your couch. Because if you plug the Chromecast into your TV and use the controller, then you could just play games like a console, and you would get 4K 60 FPS HDR 5.1.
I really do like and this is such a like it's kind of a geeky thing, but I actually love the fact that they went with a USB-C port for charging. It makes me so happy when they went for that, because that is the best, in my opinion, the best cable. It's the best USB for charging, 100%.
The best thing about USB-C cables is the fact you don't have to turn it around; it goes in universally each way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh my god, that's so much better. Mounting fucking cables or controllers, and you're fumbling about in the dark trying to charge your controller, and you're like, oh, I can't even fucking see the port.
Exactly.
So yeah, like
I've been using a OnePlus 6 phone, and that uses USB-Cs, and I gotta say, I'll never go back. I can get my whole phone charged within 30 minutes. It's great.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I've got the new iPhone, so I've been using wireless charging for the first time ever, and it's pretty.
How is that?
It's handy. Like, it's cool just being able to like sit my phone in a dock and it just charges. I don't have to plug anything in.
It's funny how Android came out with that first.
Yeah, well, I mean, Apple always talk about how they win things because they're second to the pole. Like, they're always taking that technology, waiting a while, and making it the best thing, then releasing it. So yeah, like the wireless charging's definitely been a perk, I think, using it.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's just handy because you don't have to fumble about with cables. You just, like, even if I have to pick my phone up at night, I just look at it for 2 seconds and put it back in the dock and it keeps charging. So it's like, yeah, it's small conveniences like that are stuff that I appreciate. But
my friend at work was actually showing me that their iPhone, they just updated it to the latest iOS. They were like, Jordan, look at this, it's amazing. I'm like, all right, what is it? They showed me it, and it was the when you slide your finger over the letters and it makes the words. And and they were like, how cool is this? Oh my god, it's so cool. And I just was like, I've had that on my phone since I got it. I got my phone 2 years ago. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's the same with dark mode. Like, people were like, oh my god, you can get dark mode on your phone, and Androids are like, you've had that for had it for a year now. So
exactly.
Yeah, the only thing I've really enjoyed is my iPad Pro, because it now supports mouse and keyboard. So, it supports mouse now, so that you can get a pointer on your screen. So I hook my Logic, because my MX Master can have up to 3 devices. I can switch between them instantly, so I can be doing something on my computer, then press a button,
nice,
and then move about my iPad and click things. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. So
was that the one you spilled water on recently?
No, God, I spilled water on my keyboard last night. I just had a bottle of water, and I took a drink out of it and put it back down. Then I usually just put the cap back on it and put it at the side, because I know I don't want to have any spills. But I literally just, like, went to reach, I think, for the volume or something, and I knocked the bottle over. I didn't catch it in time, and a tiny wee bit of water went on it. But then the whole keyboard just started freaking out. So I was like, no! So
I'd actually be green.
Mate, I had the whole keyboard apart, screw by screw. I was, taking my
You've pimped yours out too. You've got like gold keys and stuff. Like, you've pimped.
I know, it's like £120 keyboard or something. It's a Corsair wireless keyboard. So I was like totally shitting myself.
Corsair's good though.
Corsair stuff's good.
Yeah,
I've got one of the best wireless keyboards in the biz, and I've got one of the best wireless mouses in the biz. So like,
even then, you've got like another one like this. Just as sturdy. That's like your backup.
That was the reason I got a change for that, because the other Corsair, the K90, it's a big wired keyboard and it's huge, but it's great. It's an amazing keyboard. But when I was using my Wacom tablet, or I was trying to do anything like in 3D or 2D, I usually like to just move my keyboard out the way. And because the keyboard's wireless and it's shorter and it's smaller, it's not got the numpad, I can use the hotkeys really quickly with my left hand.
Yeah.
I don't have to give up a lot of space on my desk. So that's why I switched to the wireless one. But yeah,
that makes sense.
The other one was so big that if I tried to move it out of the way, I just couldn't get the real estate space on my,
I
on my
know.
desk.
I've used it.
Yeah.
You let me use it for a bit, and I was like,
yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting setup. But I was gutted yesterday because I spilled a bit of water, and like the lights were flashing on and off, and I was like, oh my god, no! So
oh no,
I know
I'm quite happy with my Logitech G8 10 Orion.
Yeah, I mean, Logitech's make good shit. I mean, like my mouse is Logitech. The MX Masters are Logitech brands, so
that's true. Oh yeah, so it's
So if you ever get a chance to have a Logitech MX Master, because they go on sale often on Amazon for like 50-40 quid.
Oh, the sale is still too much.
Yeah, I know, but still,
that's why I need Stadia.
I know.
Give me Stadia, day one.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I think that's us. We're going to wrap up for you because that's nearly an hour. But yeah, so we've talked about a lot here. Mostly, I was just trying to get Jordan's reactions to a lot of the stuff that we were hearing first, or stuff that hasn't really came across yet. But yeah, we'll keep talking as we go on, and we'll get an idea of things as they go forward. Make sure to check out the social medias that we've got: Instagram, Facebook, of course, on YouTube. The Stadia podcast is on Anchor just now. We've partnered with Anchor, so I think we're available on 16 different podcast services around the world. So you guys can hear this in multiple places all over the planet. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. You guys got any comments or any suggestions below in the YouTube or other podcast services? Just leave some comments and links, and we'll get back to you. Thanks for Jordan to come on and speak and talk about Stadia, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
See you next time.
Peace.
Bye.